I just checked my student loans because I needed to get the information to someone. I started with 80,000. The grand total is I have paid $120,000 and I still owe 76. How the is this possible?
In 2006, student loan debt was at $400 billion. Today, it's at $1.77 trillion, or $1,770 billion. That means that student loan debt is over 4 times the amount it was just 20 years ago. In this video, I'm going to explain how we got to this point, why it's so hard to pay off your student loans, and steps that you can take to pay off your student loan faster. If you don't know, I'm Sean. I'll be graduating from Ohio State this year, and when I do, I'll be working at JP Morgan as a financial analyst. I make personal finance videos to teach people the best practices they can take with their finances, so stick around if you want to be the best version of yourself. Alright, so let's go back to 2006. When new graduates came out of college, they had around $20,000 in student loan debt, adjusted for inflation. According to the Social Security Administration, the average college graduate was making $37,000 coming out. Today, when students graduate college, they have roughly $40,000 in debt, and their average salary coming out is $47,000. So college prices have increased by 100%, and salary growth has increased by 28%. This difference is the main issue when it comes to debt payback. It was way easier to pay off your student loans 20 years ago than it is today. To further this point, in 2006, the average student loan payment was $220. Today, it's $500, a 127% increase. Keep in mind, only a 28% increase in salary. In 2006, new graduates were making $2,500 a month and they had a $220 payment. They were paying roughly 9% of their monthly earnings on their student loan debt. Now new graduates are making $3,200 a month and they're paying $500 a month on their student loans. They spend roughly 16% of their earnings on their student loan payback. It's nearly double what it was just 20 years ago. But now we should explain further why it's so difficult to pay off our student loans. To do this, I'm going to hop on my computer, so I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, so now that we're on my computer, I wanted to show you my actual setup of how my student loans work. So this is from about a month ago, and I had $42,400. Now the crazy thing is, when I got these student loans, all of them it was for about $12,000 over the span of 3 years, so $36,000. But what they don't tell you about student loans is they automatically start accruing interest. So you'll have 4 years of interest building off of when you started. So you may think 12,000, 12,000, 12,000, 36,000, but it's actually going to be much higher. If you're there for 4 years, it'll be 48,000. I only had 3 because I did community college for a year, so I would have less debt. Clearly still have a ton of debt, more than average, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, the Parent Plus loan, by far the worst, 8.5%. That's about how much you'll get in the stock market. So you really want to get that paid off as soon as possible. So I come in here, I know I don't have loan forgiveness. That's not going to work. So then you have these options here. So I want to pay off my student loans as fast as possible. That's my goal. So you'd think when you click that, it'll give you the fastest way to pay off your student loans. So let's see. It tells me the fastest way to pay off my student loans is to pay $317 a month for 25 years. That doesn't sound very fast to me. And it has me paying $95,036. So if you come over here to the Excel, I may zoom in on all of this so that it's easier for you to see. But, initially 36,000. So 95,000 minus 36,000. That means that I would pay $59,000 for nothing. Interest just going to the government, because it tells me that this is the fastest way to pay off my student loan debt. Obviously, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. So we can view and compare my options. They're all horrible. They're all horrible options. So as you can see, when you use these calculators, if you don't know what's going on, it literally sets you up for failure immediately. It immediately sets you up for failure. Lowest monthly failure, $102,000. You're paying for $36,000. So it's absolute BS. So here's what you need to do. You need to have an Excel sheet like this. So I know I have $42,400. This is as of a month ago, but I'm accruing interest from the time I start paying off my debt, which will be when I start working in July to last month. So there's another 6 months of interest. So I have this information right here. This is how much I pay per month in interest. And I just use this basic formula. If you don't understand Excel or how this works, that's completely okay. This is pretty much an example. If you guys want, I can make a tutorial explaining how all of this works. But $42,400 from last month, it'll end up being $43,990. Okay, so you put in $43,990. That's how much it'll be. Now, if I want to pay this off in 10 years, with the average loan rate being 7.5%, as we have here, I will need to pay $522 a month. Not even an option that they give you when you're looking at the loan payments. Crazy, insane, nuts. And that's supposed to be the fastest possible way to do it. How is that fast? It's not. And then you can type in, oh, I want to pay $500, because it doesn't even get you mentally thinking in the realm of paying more than that. That's still $61,000, and it's still over 10 years. So if you have a formula like this, you can say, I don't want it to be 10 years. I want it to be 5 years. So you type in 60. You need to pay $881 a month. The total interest paid would be $8,898. Way better. It still sucks, I will say. And you, realistically, if you pay this amount, you pay the minimum on the two lowest. You pay the minimum on the two lowest. So I know from where it was here. Yeah, it says my average is 7.61. If I'm paying off I can't pull it up anymore, but the first two loans that had a lower interest rate, then it would be a lower overall interest rate. But that's a good estimate, 7.5%. So you can see the way it works. Initially, you're paying $250 in interest. What they want you to do is pay it off in about 15 years. So you're putting in $408. You're paying $274 in interest. So you're only putting $133 a month towards it. So after a full year, you go from $43,000, and keep in mind, you're putting in about $4,800 in that first year. And your balance goes from $43,990 to $42,340. You put in $4,800. You're actually putting in about $1,500. BS. So you really need to understand that they're trying to screw you over, and you need to put in way more than you think you do. Way more. So 60 months. That would put you at 5 years. 5 years to pay it off. If what I personally want to do, 2 years, $1,980 a month I would have to put in to my student loans. Obviously, I'm not going to have that kind of money when I graduate, because things cost money, and that would be like everything else. So I personally am going to be putting in pretty much all of my investments that I have. I'm just going to take them out, because I'm not going to be able to get returns above this. If I do, it's going to be about 1%, 2% max, returns. Last year and the year before, we had insane returns. So to assume that would continue happening over the next few years while I'm trying to pay this off is pretty ludicrous. So let's say it was $44,000 and I'm putting in $16,000. So 44,000 minus 16,000. So that'd put me at $28,000 in the loan. So I'd need to pay $1,260, which this is my actual sheet. I just copied it over for this example. And that's the goal, $1,260. So that's going to be pretty much all of my disposable income going to this. But if you do want to pay it off and you don't want to get scammed, then you need to pay it off fast. And you need to realize that the calculators that they give you, the fastest payoff time was 25 years. You don't want to spend 25 years paying off all that money, because then you're paying 3 times the amount you were originally. Originally it's supposed to be $36,000. I end up paying $100,000. That's nuts. That's so crazy. So yeah, that's the information. Now I'm going to teach you exactly what you should do, what I'm doing to make sure that you can pay off your student loans fast. So I'll see you in the next part. All right, now it's time to go over some techniques that me and thousands of others are using to pay off their student loan debt as fast as possible. Number one is pay more than the minimum. If a calculator is telling you that you should be putting in $450 a month into your student loan payback, put in $500, put in $600. Anything else is going to help you pay off your debt way faster. Another trick to this is, instead of paying once a month, you pay every 2 weeks. That means that there will be 2 extra payments every single year that you're putting onto your student loans. Number 2, refinance your student loans to a lower interest rate. If you have good credit and interest rates are going down, it may be a good idea to bundle up your student loans and refinance them so that you have a lower interest rate. Be careful though. If you have federal student loans and you switch them to non-federal student loans, you won't have federal protections such as income-driven payments or forgiveness loans for that matter. The third technique is living frugally. If you can live like you were still in college, not spending much money on anything, you can pay back your student loan debt much faster than you would. If you're making $4,000, live like you're making $2,500 and put as much as you can towards your student loan payback. Then once you pay it off, you can start increasing the amount you spend per month and growing your lifestyle. Number 4 is the debt avalanche method. So what you do, if you have multiple different types of student loans, like you have a Parent Plus loan that has a higher interest rates than the others, you want to focus on paying off that loan first. That way, you're taking the least amount of interest possible. If you have a lump sum that you can put into your student loans, you want to put it into the one with the highest interest rate. That way, you're lowering the average interest you pay every single month, and then you'll be spending less money on interest overall. Number 5 would be picking up a side hustle. If you get a side hustle and you can put that extra money towards your student loan debt, you can live an increased lifestyle than you were in college while paying off the student loans faster than you would have otherwise. Number 6 is taking advantage of your employer's payback assistance. If they have programs that help you pay off your student loans faster, you should definitely take them. Make sure to contact your employer and see if they have these options available for you. Number 7 is lump sum payments. For me personally, I have money invested in bonds. They're making about 4.5%. My student loans, on average, are about 7.25%. If I leave that money in the bonds, I'm actively losing money. So it'd be much better for me to take that out and put it towards my student loans instead of keeping it in the bonds. If you can do this, you definitely should. All right, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something, and I hope you're able to pay off your student loans faster. Let me know in the comments how long you have until you pay off your student loans and if you're gonna use any of these techniques. I'll see you guys in the next one.